Hey, Joe Cerrone, welcome to CAD-116 Basic AutoCAD. Today I'm going to talk about the textbook reading from Chapter 2. As we take a look at the D2L course management software, we're going to look at the content area. In the content area, we'll be following the outline of topics. And so in our outline of topics, what we're going to be covering is Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. And I'm going to go through the AutoCAD instructor textbook. So let's get started. I've got AutoCAD set up and running. And so I've selected the AutoCAD 2023 English. And I've launched that. And so that's going to look like this. And then I've also opened the textbook. I use the digital version, and we're going to look at Chapter 2, working with files. And we're going to take a look at being able to name a drawing file, being able to use file-related dialog boxes, being able to use Windows right-click shortcut menus, creating new drawing files, opening and closing existing drawings, being able to save drawings, save as. I'm not so much a big partial open fan. We can talk a little bit about that. And we'll also look at some of the management techniques. And so when you open AutoCAD, you get the main splash page right here. And our first module will be these plates that we'll be doing, plate 1 through 5. And as we take a look at the main splash page, we've got open and new. And then we've got some other information that's helpful as far as AutoCAD. And then we've got the ribbon here across the top. And the ribbon doesn't have any active commands because we haven't started a drawing file yet. So if we look at our Chapter 2, first part of Chapter 2 goes through and explains drawing files and file names. And so AutoCAD uses a .dwg file extension. And so when you use a program like File Explorer to take a look at your drawing files, they should have a .dwg extension on it. And then you can name the file up to 256 different alphanumeric characters as you see fit. Typically, we'll have students name their files with their initials. And so as we look at this drawing file right here, typically I'll have this saved as, and I'll have students go to the big red A and use the save as file and save it with your initials. And this one will be a plate drawing. And so I named it JC-PLT1-5. And then if you look down here at the dialog box, you can put the name of the file that you want to save. And then down here under file types, the chapter does a really good job of explaining the different types of files. And so we have these DWG files. And if you look at them, they go back to different years of the version of the software. And so 2018 is the default version that they use to save the files. And it works all the way up to 2023. But then when you get to the next point, it goes down to 2013, 2010, et cetera. You can also open up files that are DWF, DXF, drawing exchange format. DWF is a web file format, so you can publish your files out to web format. There's a number of different file formats that AutoCAD works with and does very good work with. And so as we look at the drawing files, that's how the files are saved in the extension for those. When you begin a new drawing, AutoCAD lets you create a template. And so when we say File New, you go to the template directory and then ask you to choose one of the templates. And so we have these different templates, and the textbook says that there's a chapter, I believe it's chapter 12 or so, that explains all these other templates. The ACAD is the default template. And basically what that is it's just a blank drawing file, and it'll come up with drawing1.dwg. And then you can save it as and file name. Be using D2L in templates that we've already created. And so in D2L, under content, have created these title blocks for you. And that's typical of what your CAD manager will do. They'll create the title block with the company name, the company logo, layers, and sort of rules that they want people to use, like colors and layers for creating drawings. And so in our first drawing, what we'll do is we will use the plate title block, and that can be downloaded from D2L. You can just say download and then open. And you'll get our title block that we use for our plate drawings. And we have other title blocks that you can use. And so if we look at some of the other title blocks, we'll use a mechanical title block for the mechanical drawings. And so here's my B-size mech title block. And we'll be using this title block for mechanical drawings. And then we'll be using architectural title blocks from D2L for architectural drawings. And the reason that we use these different title blocks is because we can program them with different layers and colors for you. And so under layers, we go to the layer properties. We can see that we've created these different layers for you with different colors and line weights. So if we go back to the plate title block, this is the one that we'll be using for our first drawing assignment. Let's go back to D2L in our book. So as we start to work with these different drawings, we'll have this DWG drawing file, and then it goes through and explains beginning a new drawing and saving a drawing using the big red A here to kind of manage that. And then as we look at the navigation, when we go under the big red A here, or the applications menu, and we say open, we'll see that we have previous drawings that are listed here that we can look at. And so if we looked at some other drawings, we can go through here and we can look at some of these other drawing files that may be linked to some of the work that we've done before. And so you can keep a history of the drawings that you've created and be able to retrieve those using the application manager. You can right click within the software and you'll get these different windows. Okay, depending on what's active, you'll have these different right click commands. And then here it talks a little bit about templates. And so when you start a new file, you'll have a DWT file extension, and that'll open up a blank drawing that will allow you to save as and save it as a DWG file. We have other commands here like quick new, which will allow us to create a new file, and it goes through the options dialog box to show us how to program that. And so if I right click here and I go to options under files, this is what this is related to in the textbook. And so you can go through and create these different maps to these different template files if you would like to create that and set that up. For right now, we'll just download those files from D2L and open them. When we open a file, you can open a file located on your computer or on your network, or you can save it to the cloud. AutoCAD has cloud management called Autodesk 360. If you like to put everything on the cloud, you can activate your AutoCAD 360 account and use that. I currently just put things on the Oakton network drive, which is the H drive. And so you can save this file by going to the big red A and using save as, and then you can save it to the H drive if you're located on a computer that's connected to the Oakton network. And you'll see your name on it, and that file is then accessible on the Oakton network. Otherwise, just save it to a directory where you can find things. And so save it to a USB or create a directory on your hard drive, CAD-116, and save those files there. You can open up multiple drawings by holding the Shift key or the Control key, and then you can open up more than one drawing at a time. So if I wanted to open up more than one drawing, I could say File, Open. And then I can go and I can click on the drawing. And if I hold the Shift key or the Control key, I can open up additional drawings. Since one of the files is already opened, it wants to open it as read only. If you have two files with the same name on it, one of them is going to be read only because they have the same name. And so when you have that situation, you have to change the name of one of them or close one of the files. So you can open up multiple files, and then you'll see across the top here that you can navigate through all these different open files that I have. Automatic saving. And so AutoCAD allows you to save the file. And so we can use the save command, and then you can put your name in that you want to save the file. And so if we wanted to save this file, we could say save as. And typically I name them with my initials, and I have students do that. So we could say this is JC-PLT 1-5. And the reason I name it 1-5 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is that we can have multiple drawings within a drawing. And so as I save that, what you'll find is that the template that we're using for the plate drawings has these tabs like on an Excel spreadsheet where you can have multiple pages to a drawing file document. So for example, on my finished plate drawing, on plate 1 is the example for plate 1, and then plate 2, plate 3, plate 4. And so you can have multiple drawings, and it almost reads like a book. And so AutoCAD is really good at being able to set things up for digital publishing of blueprints. Save files as different file types. And so depending on what applications you're using, so when we go to save as, you have these different drawing file formats. And so for example, if you're using a CAM program, you may save it as a DXF file or a drawing exchange file. And then you'll bring it into something like Mastercam or Fusion, and then be able to generate prototypes for that file. So there's these other file formats that work really well and allow you to use AutoCAD with other softwares. Closing files, you can use the close all command to close all of the files. You can use close all other, and you can use exit. And so to invoke one of those commands, you go to the command line, and then you just type it in. And so we could say close all. Enter. And then it'll ask me if I want to save any of these files. I'm going to say no. And then it closes all the open files that I have. Returns me back to the main menu. When you exit AutoCAD, you can just go and select the exit command. I like to turn on the menu bar, which is this little triangle with the line under it. Show menu bar, file, exit. I'm not going to exit it this time, but I wanted to show that that's how that works. It also, it used to be called quit, and I guess it's just not PC enough. And so they changed the quit command to the exit command. It's the same command. It exits you out of the drawing editor. Partial open is a way to open up certain layers in a drawing or certain features. For a basic AutoCAD course, we really don't need to go into this at this point. Sometimes drawing files get so big that they slow the computer down, and people will partially open up those drawing files. So for example, if we had the entire campus on CAD and we just wanted to look at the machine shop, we could just open up one of the rooms and then be able to work on that drawing file with a partial open file. But most of the computers are really pretty quick, and you can open up your drawings without the partial open file. They have this partial load, which is pretty much the same thing, allows you to open up parts of a drawing, certain layers. Sometimes the power will go out or something will happen, you'll get a glitch and your drawing will get corrupted. And so they have a recover option for that. And so you can go and invoke the recover command, and what it will do is it will try to repair the drawing. You can also look at drawing properties. And so if I open up my first drawing assignment and I wanted to look at the drawing properties, what I would do is type in the command name. And that's what's nice about AutoCAD, is that everything can be just typed in. And so if you go to the command line and type in DWG, and it's smart enough that it goes through and finds all the commands that begin with DWG. And so it finds the drawing properties command and then allows us to use that. And so we can then save our files. And we don't really need to do this for our version, but in industry, oftentimes you'll name a file and save it by the client or something like that. And so the drawing properties allows you to keep track and place notes on the drawing. For example, when the drawing was created, who created it, and then any keywords. And so when I was working for Illinois Toolworks, I was working with a lot of manufacturers that create forest products applications, 2x4s, wood, things like that. And so I would name the file according to the vendor that I was using. And so I may use Willamette Industries or another industry, and then I would put my name on it. And then you can search for those things and be able to find that information. And AutoCAD is really pretty cool. It allows you to use web enhancements like hyperlinks and embed those into your drawings as well. And then it has a statistics, which tells how much time was spent on the drawing, who created it, when it was last accessed. And then you can do some other things like add some custom properties. But that's just database information for being able to organize the file. And I just wanted to cover that for the chapter. Save time is a command that allows you to set up the automatic saving. This is a newer command. It was basically in the automatic backup area of the options command. And it creates what's called a BAK file. And so if I right click here and I go to options, and then I go to files, there's a automatic save file location right here. And what you want to do is you want to double click on this area here, and you want to see where that goes. And you can change the location of that for your saved files. And so, for example, if I want my saved files to go to my hard drive, I can set it to save to my Toshiba, and then for the current year in the current class, and then I can say, okay, and now my automatic backups will be saved to my CAD-116 2023 directory. And then when I go to the Open and Save tab, it allows me to set up my automatic save location or my automatic save time. And so every 10 minutes, it'll create a backup for me automatically in that save location. Alrighty. And then the drawing recovery, as we talked about, allows you to recover a drawing that has been damaged due to a power failure or something like that. That's basically it. There's a number of different file management and upper applications that we can work with AutoCAD. But for our first course, we're just going to basically work with these different templates. The templates are located in the D2L. under all title blocks, and you can download these different templates and use them for our course. As we start to work with the class, Al and I have put things like shortcuts in there, other things for your drawings. Module 1, we will be creating these different drawings right here, and we will be using plate title block template to create those. The drawings are located in module 1. Here's plate number 1. And it's basically just geometry using a snap and a grid to create these different shapes. And then what we'll do is we will update the title block and the information that's on there for that. Alrighty, that completes our chapter 2 using AutoCAD and our textbook applications.